Good morning, everybody. It's Dave, and of course that tail belongs to this very happy cat. Bo says good morning, and we're going to go ahead and walk out through the garden today, take a look at all the cool things that are in bloom. We are on the other side of the heat wave now. So we had about 5 days of 100-degree weather here in beautiful sunny Southern California, and we maxed out at 102, which was really, really warm. Very little damage to the yard, probably a lot of damage to the water bill, but that's another story. So we're going to take a quick look at all the cool things blooming for a date today. It is August the 9th, 2024. And one of the things that I forget to tell you about, because I never look up, is this beautiful crepe myrtle. And this crepe myrtle is an original planting to the house, which dates back to 1955. And it is just popping as far as blooms go. And we'll see if we can get a better picture of it here. We go up to this one. I don't know any variety name or anything like that for this, since it is one of the older varieties. But there's a number of ones you can get. This is the time of year where you're going to see them in the nursery, and it's a fine time to buy them. They are a plant that goes dormant during the winter time. It is perfect to plant them in the winter as well. And it is an arguable question as to whether or not they are trees or shrubs. They max out at about 20 feet, which is what this one is. But a lot of times they are just considered a shrub, and they're trained as a tree form, which is kind of interesting. They will sucker, so you will get a few branches and such coming up. In fact, if we go over here, you can kind of see I've got a little baby crepe myrtle here. So that is the way crepe myrtles grow. They do lose their bark during part of the year as well. So they are not the cleanest tree, probably not something I would put over a pool, because you're gonna have the blossoms this time of year falling, you're gonna have the leaves falling in the winter, and you're gonna have the bark falling at part of the year as well. So, but if you're Bo, she doesn't care, and she thinks that the crepe myrtle is really cool because she can jump up that and jump onto the house roof, which he has done numerous times. I also want to go over here and highlight the beautiful Liriope, and I want to say that this is silvery sunproof, but don't quote me on that variety. And you can kind of see the beautiful bloom spikes on it as well as the bloom spike on the black mondo grass, and also all the new growth coming out. The ilex over here has done extremely well. And we're gonna head back and see what kind of plants we've got over here in the holding area. I've been wanting to get that begonia richmondensis in the ground forever, and it is still in the pot. We've got a few blooms on the alstroemeria, the taro doing great. And this is actually a hibiscus flower, not a regular hibiscus like we see that we think of, very tropical, but this is a plant I'm not sure where to put. It's something that only gets a couple feet tall. You can kind of see the interesting blossoms or buds that it has here, but it spreads out like 6 or 8 feet, and I just don't know where that should go. We've got the lemon verbena here, which is an old-time herb, and it's when you crush the leaves, it gives off a very lemony scent. We've got the beautiful variegated dogwood from Mr. Maple. We've got also the S2.E36, which is a plant I've always wanted, and even a few blooms from a couple of the roses from Antique Rose Emporium. I did cut back the heliotropium back here, and Bo's with us as well. So we'll head out to the garden, see if there's anything that deserves some highlighting. We've got this beautiful geranium. Remember, we pulled all the weeds around that and cut the plant back to hardly anything, maybe about 3 inches height. And here we are about a month, 6 weeks later, and it's fully come back. Beautiful, easy to grow type of geranium. Not like the geraniums here. These are more of your commercial geraniums, your ivies. The rounded leaf is your zonal here. And also, if it's a very serrated leaf, those are Martha Washingtons. A few blooms left on the plumeria. Looking forward to planting that out. Echinacea about done. Those beautiful blossoms on the daylilies. Lots of blossoms on the impatiens. Those have done really, really well this year. And in fact, I'm going to switch around here so that my shadow's not too intrusive. Japanese maple, pittosporum, and also a little sphagnum moss grouping of orchids there. Dahlia. And of course, that beautiful Shishigashira Japanese maple. A few more blooms on the bee balm, which is really nice. Again, that is Monarda, is the botanical name. You can kind of see here that the Shastas are pretty much all done. I'm probably going to go ahead and cut those back in the next couple of weeks. I'm keeping them just in case there's a heat wave. I don't want that center core to be damaged if we get 106, 115 or something like that. Hopefully that won't happen. Knock on wood. Next 10 days are supposed to be really nice and calm, right around the 90-degree mark. The lawn itself looks pretty good. No complaints there. And over here we've got, see if I can zoom in here. Some of the seeds on the Japanese maple. Gardenias down below. The other bloodgood Japanese maple I've got here, that's a new planting. Again, Home Depot has been really great in the wintertime for bringing in some of these Japanese maples at a really low cost, about half the price of what they should normally be. Everything else looking really good back here. Again, I'm always surprised at the Disigothica in the back. That's False Aurelia. Should be a shade plant, doing great in full sun, did great during the heat. We'll cruise around here, walk out to the rose garden. I would say the one thing that did get hit by the heat has been the dogwood. It just really did horrible over the last week. We do have a lot of burning on the leaves and everything, and even some of the newer leaves are showing that. But this is not necessarily the correct zone for dogwood to be in, and I'm very happy to have it. The brand new growth is unharmed, the tree is unharmed, and I'm hoping that just the maturity of it in the next couple years will keep it from damaging in the hot summertime. Over here we do have the peonies. They did not bloom at all this year. Last year we did get some blooms from them, and that was a new planting last year. Hopefully they'll do a little bit better in the next year. We have the Westringia that I transplanted here, and the arborvitae in the back. It's green emerald. Apple tree, pretty well done as far as fruit goes. I went ahead and pulled all the remaining fruit off just because the Japanese beetles were starting to come in. And you can kind of see there's a cluster of flowers here, Anna apple will have a small fall crop of apples that'll ripen September, October. But I mean, if you're looking at 100 apples in the summertime, you're probably looking at 10 to 15 in the winter. Not anything I would write home about. That beautiful stand of daylily flowers there. And not much else going on. I think Bo's found a lizard by the old pond area, so she is across from us. Chicago Peace and a few dianthus coming up. Again, not a whole lot to speak about back here. Mostly I need to trudge in there and start pruning back the bearded iris and getting all these weeds out. The Casablanca lilies are pretty well done now for the season. They lasted just about 2 to 3 weeks on those. Those definitely need to be cut back. It's lily broken heart, and I think I may have called the Casablanca irises. Those are lilies. You can definitely see, as we get into the heat, the size of the flowers diminishing on these rose bushes to just a fraction of what they normally were. This is Queen Elizabeth, which should be about 3 times as big as these are now, but happy to have the off blooms. The Leonotis bloom, that's always really cool. Beautiful orange flower as well. And the iris patch that we cut back 2 weeks ago, I believe. Apricot tree and bay laurel. Everything here looking really good. Again, some blooms on the sandback jasmines. Beautiful coloring up on the Japanese maple red dragon. And of course, beautiful color on that variegated oregano that has all the nut grass. Coming up, after we just cleaned that out just about a month or so ago, this is the time of year where nut grass is just like completely growing crazy and needs to be controlled. Had a good run on it first part of the year, but now it's beginning to overtake a little bit, so I'll need to spend a little bit more time there. I did do a lot of edging, making sure that that came out really nice. Do have some off blooms as well on the Cecile Brunner climbing rose. I also need to do some thinning on the macadamia here. I want that inside area a little bit more airy. Nectarine. And the peaches should be just about ripe for maybe another couple weeks on those genetic dwarfs. I think that is pretty much everything. Beautiful Magnolia Solangiana. Can't wait for that to be blooming later this winter, early next year. So last week I showed you White Flower Farm's website and talked about some of the bulbs that were available. I'm going to show you one more website today. This will probably be the second of a 3-part series, and I hope you enjoy it. It's about some fall bulbs that you should consider buying now for the best selection. Hey everyone, it's Dave, and we're going to take a look at Bluestone Perennials website. Now, Bluestone Perennials is someone I've bought from before, and usually what I do early in the springtime is I'll buy from their assortment of perennials. But today we're going to be looking at the different bulbs that they have available. And they have a great selection of things for daffodils, and we'll take a quick look there. We won't spend nearly as much time as we did with the White Flower Farms last week. But they have all the major varieties, both daffodils and narcissus, both regular trumpet-shaped and doubles like you see here, as well as the different colors. So a wonderful assortment, and we'll take a look at Tahiti, which is one of the more popular varieties, and it's also one that I remember being very fragrant. So for this one here, you're looking at just 5 per order, and it runs $7. So you're looking at about $1.25 per bulb, which isn't bad at all, and is very much in line with white flower farms. We'll go back to some of the other daffodils here, and we'll look up maybe that first one, Dutch Master, which is, again, one of the old standbys along with King Alfred. So here you have $11 and you get 15 of the Dutch Masters, so a little bit less than $1, probably about 85 to 90 cents each. So a great selection of daffodils. We'll take a look at the tulips, and what you'll find is that a lot of these varieties are older, they're heirloom types, and there's usually sold by all the different growers. Sometimes you will have some unique varieties. For instance, Blueberry Ripple here is something that is specific to bluestone perennials. And here we've got 8 per bag for $7.95, $1 a bulb. A really great color contrast here as well, so that's really kind of nice. Angelique we saw before, and we have a number of different varieties. I think I counted there were something like 60 varieties of tulips, and I'm probably going to be looking at this one here, Tulip Interaction, because of the variegated leaves. I think that really adds an extra splash of color, especially in the early springtime. I also like the parrot type tulips with this type of serration around the edges, and definitely the ruffled flower of this variety as well. So Pretty Princess, we'll take a quick look there. And a little bit more than, well, we're looking at maybe $1.30, $1.40 per bulb, doing some quick math. But look at, again, the variegated leaves and a beautiful bicolor flower as well. We'll take a look at a few other things that they have as well. Hyacinths, just a few Dutch iris. I think they had about 9 varieties. And the lilies, those are usually better for first of the year purchasing. That's when the best availability of those are. Crocuses, they also had about half a dozen varieties, but I do want to check out their hyacinths. About 10 varieties here. Pink Pearl, one of the most famous. You're looking at, again, about $1.40, $1.50 per bulb. But let's take a look at maybe one other Gypsy Queen. That's an old standby variety as well. 5 for $7. And then just scrolling down, there's a couple really cool ones here as well. The Lycoris. I really like these because they kind of come up like the Amaryllis Naked Ladies. They don't have any foliage to them. They're just the flower itself, and a very stunning flower as well. So here, they are a little bit more pricey, $12, and you only get 1 bulb. A few Muscari, some Alliums, two of the foxtail lilies for $13, so not a bad price on that. They might have the white ones as well. I haven't looked yet, but that's usually a very cool variety. And the Galanthus. Galanthus are wonderful too. Again, great for a woodland garden, good for a shaded garden. And
And again, right now is a great time to buy fall bulbs. Next week, I'll take a look at maybe Schreiner's bearded iris and check those out.
All right, that is everything for this week. Bo and I wish you a very happy week out in the garden. She's actually hiding behind the Chiananthus. I think a lizard may have scared her. There we are. We'll see you all next week with another garden video.